Alright guys and gals, Crypto Kurt here with another crypto-based video, and this has been getting around YouTube a bit. There's a couple people talking about this, and I wanted to weigh in on it myself. I'm absolutely disgusted by what I'm seeing here in this country with regards to these banks, and they're trying to control what we're doing with our own money. So I'm going to start with the Sydney Morning Herald, which is one of the largest newspapers here in Australia. This came out on December 30th, 2017. Bitcoin tensions rise as investors claim banks freezing their accounts. Bitcoin investors are claiming Australia's banks are freezing their accounts and transfers to cryptocurrency exchanges, with a viral tweet slamming the Big Four and an exchange platform putting a restriction on Australian deposits. So for those of you who aren't Australian or live in Australia, there's really four major banks. There's a couple dozen small little players. Many of those are actually owned by the Big Four as well. But the Big Four would be National Australia Bank, ANZ, Commonwealth, and Westpac. And basically, one of the guys on Twitter, this YouTube Alex Saunders, has called them out and has basically said that he has had his accounts, his accounts on exchanges, and the four exchanges that he mentions are CoinJar, CoinSpot, Coinbase, and BTC Markets, that because he was transferring dollars from his bank account to these Bitcoin exchanges, that the banks have frozen his accounts. Of course, this is the next thing that almost every article uses. Bitcoin, a currency once known for its use by criminals trading online through a Silk Road for drugs and weapons, has become a popular investment option. After hundreds of shares and responses to social media posts calling the bank's alleged behavior disgusting and appalling, with some threatening to move their accounts, some users said their activities with the cryptocurrency had still been described as a security risk by their financial institutions. Now, that was a short, watered-down article. In doing some more homework, I found this. This was actually posted on September 22nd back in 2015. Look at this. Bitcoin traders accuse Australia's biggest banks of declaring war on cryptocurrencies. Dozens of Australian Bitcoin traders have accused the country's biggest banks of refusing to do business with them in an effort to shut down the cryptocurrency industry. Here's the Big Four again. The Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, ANZ, and National Australia Bank are among the financial institutions that have been named and shamed by Bitcoin traders who have spoken of their experiences for the first time. So this is a young woman who's been blacklisted from these banks because she deals with Bitcoin, right? She claims to know at least 50 other traders in Australia who've been through the same thing. Danielle, 28, former Bitcoin trader, is now out of business after having his personal and business accounts closed by 6 different banks. Everything was going well. My first bank closure was by NAB, and then I had ANZ close, then Westpac, then about 2 months ago the Commonwealth Bank closed my bank accounts. He's also stating a serious financial loss. He was going to hire somebody, going to bring on an extra developer, but basically can't do that because he doesn't know exactly what he's going to do because his business accounts have been frozen and he can't conduct business. I thought this was great. Labor Senator Sam Dastyari, who chaired the Senate Economics Reference Committee into digital currency, remember this is back in 2015, guys, said he was outraged by the bank account closures. I think the whole thing is outrageous, he said. Situation where large financial institutions gang up together to prevent the growth of new industries, it's a very, very worrying concern. What worries me from an industry perspective is this is an area where we should be promoting. This is an area we should be growing, and yet you have this complete opposite outcome from the banking institutions who frankly see a lot of this as a threat. Of course they see it as a threat. It's been called the black hole. It's sucking in every asset in the planet, and no assets are leaving because people are getting such huge returns. And yes, it might be a bit crazy at the moment, but it's much better than having your money in the fiat banking system, which could be shut down tomorrow. They could freeze your account like that because someone, oh, by the way, in the banking system decided that you had broken their terms and conditions. So the ABC, who had put together this article, put 2 questions to the banks. What's the bank's official policy when it comes to dealing with Bitcoin traders? Why does the bank refuse to let those who deal with Bitcoin hold accounts? A spokeswoman from the CBA, which is the Commonwealth Bank, refused to answer the questions, saying only that the Commonwealth Bank consistently serves each customer on a case-by-case basis. A spokesman from Westpac said he could not comment on individual customers, and ANZ have yet to respond. Of course, Tony Pearson, the acting CEO of the Australian Bankers Association, maintains that financial institutions have the right to choose who they do business with. Really? Really, Tony? Well, you know what? So do we. So do we. We can decide who we're going to bank with and who we're not going to bank with. And if you don't have our money in your bank, you got nothing, mate, nothing. He goes on to say, the lack of transparency and regulatory oversight raises a number of risks for users and also poses risks for the payment system, the integrity of the financial system, and the erosion of the tax base. Given the risks, there is a need for a clear and settled legal and regulatory framework for digital currencies. You know what? That's just going to give you more excuses to be able to close more bank accounts. So I decided to go see what the ATO says about this, right? So the banks have can decide who they want to do business with, and again, so can we. What does the Australian Tax Authority have to say about Bitcoin? Okay, so we're here at the ATO website. I just did a search on Bitcoin, and you can see we've got tax treatment of cryptocurrencies and GST and digital currency from July 1st, 2017 by the Australian Taxation Office. Let's have a quick look at these. So this is, and again, it depends on if you're an individual or if you're a business. So if you're a business dealing with Bitcoin, you have a whole longer list of hoops to jump through. But if you're individual, you don't really have to worry too much about it. This is a guidance paper using Bitcoin for personal transactions. Okay, so what do we have here? Generally, there will be no income tax or GST implications. For those of you not from Australia, GST is goods and services tax, and it's a flat 9% or 10% on all purchases that require, well, there's a whole long list of services that are taxed that have been listed by the ATO. However, for personal uses, if you are not in business or carrying on an enterprise and you simply pay for goods and services in Bitcoin, in other words, you buy something online using Bitcoin, for example, acquiring personal goods or services on the internet using Bitcoin, where you use Bitcoin to purchase goods and services for personal use or consumption, any capital gain or loss from disposal of the Bitcoin will be disregarded as a personal use asset, provided that the cost of the Bitcoin is $10,000 or less. Now, I don't want to get into the debate of what this actually means. This could be construed a couple different ways. This could mean that the value of the Bitcoin that you own is $10,000 or less, or this could be talking about the value of Bitcoin itself. But again, there's a gray area there. Here, if you're using it for business transactions, basically you do have to register for GST and you have to pay GST for those transactions. Now, let's take a quick look at the GST and the digital currency, which came out in July of last year. And this was hilarious. Again, they have all this information, right? And they come all the way down here to examples of digital currency in practice. This is the ATO, mind you, the Australian Tax Office, equivalent to the IRS in America. And the first example that they give is crypto P2P, Pty Ltd, operates as an online digital currency exchange in Australia. So the banks are saying we're not allowing our individuals to transfer funds from our banking system to an exchange, and yet the very first example the ATO gives on their website as to how to conduct business and operate GST is a friggin' exchange. Okay? So the exchange allows digital currency buyers and sellers to buy and sell directly with each other. Crypto P2P does not sell or purchase digital currency. It provides the exchange platform that facilitates other entities doing so. So the website looks similar to a securities exchange with a list of buy and sell orders made available to all customers. Crypto P2P charges a percentage commission to both buyers and sellers for each digital currency transaction. What does that sound like to me? It sounds like Coinbase and CoinSpot. Crypto P2P is making taxable sales, brokerage, or facilitation services to its customers. They do not make any sales of digital currency, nor does it acquire digital currency. Customers of Crypto P2P that are selling and buying digital currency from each other directly are making input taxed sales and acquisitions. As a result, no GST liabilities arise, and generally no GST credits can be claimed. However, depending on their individual circumstances, sellers of digital currency may be entitled to a full GST credit if they are under a financial acquisitions threshold, or a reduced GST credit in relation to the commission charged by the crypto P2P. Again, less about the details, more just hilarious that the first example that the ATO gives as an ongoing business is a digital currency exchange. And yet the bankers are trying to tell us here in Australia that we're not allowed to put our money into these exchanges. It's just insane. All right, so how are some of the local Aussies fighting this back? I'll just watch a couple seconds of this video.
Now Sam's rolling out 1,200 Bitcoin ATM machines around the country at a breathtaking cost.
Costs just shy of 15 million plus cash in the ATMs.
Mate.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you can say I believe in Bitcoin.
Even Sam's Greek Cafe accepts Bitcoin as payment. No Aussie dollars involved. A practice that Paul Clitheroe finds hard to stomach.
You've got to decide as a business, are you a business or are you a gambler? Now, which of these are you? You know, you could take your takings at the end of the day and go to the Dapto Dogs and have a crack on Dog 5, Race 6.
So this is how the bigwig bankers are trying to position the digital currencies, that they're like going to the dog races, right? It's complete gambling, and nothing like the stock market, nothing like options, nothing like FX trading, nothing like any of the other ways that the banks are manipulating us and our monies. I'm really highly upset by this. It really pisses me off. And you know what? As I said, I'm hoping the Australian public, as they become more aware of this stuff, start to vote with their feet, and maybe we can actually create a crypto bank, or a bank that specializes in people who want to deal with cryptos, because the world's changing, guys. As you know, if you've been watching my videos or any of the thousands of videos focused on the crypto industry, it's not just about Bitcoin. It is about the blockchain. It's about this world is changing, and you're either going to get involved or not. So you know what? The banks can do all the freezing they want. I think eventually they are going to lose this war. All right, so that's enough of my rant. Sorry if I'm boring for those of you who don't live in Australia, but everyone needs to be aware that this is coming down the pipe for anyone in the world, anywhere where there's banks that are doing dodgy things. And we already know the 4 banks in Australia are already in trouble for a lot of things. They've had a lot of shit happen in the last year. Money laundering. Combank has been busted for like 1,100 counts of money laundering or some ridiculous stuff. Again, you can do your own research on that. But the point is, guys, that if you want to work around, I'm going to give you some videos coming up on how to work around this. Coinbase has still stopped allowing people to bring their money in. This is a statement that they came out with back in the middle of December-ish, basically stating that we have temporarily disabled new AU deposits. Withdrawals and buy-sell are not affected and will operate as normal. You can still trade between coins and use the AUD directly in your account. You cannot buy coins with AUD if this requires a new deposit. And the reason why CoinSpot is doing this is to protect us, the people that are using it, because they don't want our bank accounts to be frozen because of some perception or terms of service change that has been applied by these financial institutions to try to keep us from taking our own money and doing whatever the hell we want to do with our own money. No one's going to tell me that I can't put my money onto an exchange and go, quote unquote, gamble at the dog races, right? You're better off putting your money in a crypto exchange than going to the dog races any day, and that's why that guy is such an idiot. All right, once again, I could keep going and I will stop. Thanks for listening, guys. Give me a big thumbs up. If you're in Australia, just be careful out there. One of the things you can do is go to Cryptopia, which will be something I'm going to do another video about, walk you through that. So that's one way to circumvent it. That's an exchange in New Zealand. So again, some options there if you want to try to get into the cryptos and you just can't get in there and can't get your cash into the system. So, all right, guys, Crypto Kurt out on this one.